I didn't expect today to be so heavy. I don't know. Oh my god. I seriously, like, I wanted to like make like a dedicated video about those eating disorders and the sleep paralysis and the rash, but I guess that, you know, it's not necessary now. Because yeah, but I just want to be honest with myself, like, in these videos, because I need that. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I created, you know, the scrapbook. That's why I always like kept those like recordings, because I just want to understand my mind. My mind is just way too complicated, and as I said in the very first introduction video, my mind is fucked. It just is, and I need to understand like what is going on, and this is helping. This is really like helping, and I hope that it, you know, helps the future version of me as well, and my future self is like happy and has things under control and everything's cool, right? So let's continue. And I didn't finish my thought actually, that if you struggle with any of those things, talk about it. Talk about it. Don't try to fight it alone. I think that's the worst thing you can do when you try to, like, you know, just deal with it like by yourself. I think that's one of the worst things you can actually do, because you might fall into the trap, just, you know, the same way like as I did, because like I thought like I knew what was going on, and I knew, like, I didn't know shit. I was just like there is some idiom about this, isn't it? Isn't there? Like, I was, you know, hitting the nail with a sore thumb or something like that. I don't know, or I was putting the plaster on a, like, something, do you know? There is some idiom about this, and I was not able to sort it out. And I actually did not talk about it with anybody until this day. Like, nobody knows. I didn't talk about it with my mum or like my boyfriends or like anybody. Like, I did talk about the sleep paralysis with Ollie. I told him, and to my like last ex-boyfriend, and I was hoping that, you know, they might, you know, like help me out, but they didn't care. Which is, you know, understandable. Like, it's way too heavy. They never like experienced it. Actually, the main reason why I started dating the last guy was that, you know, at the beginning of our relationship, when I told him about it, he did some research, he talked about it with like some other people, and I was like, oh my god, like, he cares. He cares about me, and, you know, like, I will be in good hands. Like, you know, I finally found somebody who will, like, you know, like somebody who would care and would help me. But I didn't realize that it was this, you know, like honeymoon stage where he was trying to like just get me, and the moment he got comfortable, he didn't give a fuck. And like, we talked about it like once or twice or like 3 times, and since that time, like, nothing. And even when I like mentioned it, when I was like taking a nap, you know, during the day, because I had the paralysis like the night before, and I couldn't like sleep, and he was like, why are you taking a nap like in the middle of the day? And I was like, because I had the paralysis and I just couldn't sleep, and I just feel really tired, and I need to function, and I just like need to rest. He was like, just didn't understand. He didn't want to understand, and I don't blame him. Like, it was my problem, but I don't know, I've got this like naive like imagination of, you know, like having a partner who like knows everything about you, and somebody who genuinely cares, and you know, you care about them and they care about you, and you share things together. And when one of the people is in trouble, the other one helps them. And you know, when the other one is like happy, the other person is happy for them, and they just go through life together, and they just know everything. They want to share everything. They are not afraid of sharing the things, and they just support each other. And it's mutual. It's not like one person is giving and the other one is taking. It's like, you know, you are both like on the same level, and you just care and you support each other. And I hear about it like in podcasts, and some people like talk about these things, and they say that they've got like a relationship like this, but I've never experienced that like ever. And it must be like I do something wrong. I don't know, like what. I need to work it out. I have to find out like what I'm doing wrong, that, you know, there is no like maybe I think I care, but maybe I just don't, or the people like they don't understand my way of like caring, because there are those like 5 love languages. So maybe I just like, my care and my love didn't match their expectations, and their love didn't match like my expectations. So it was one big misunderstanding where we both felt like we were not like supporting each other, but in our heads we were. But the other person could not like appreciate that, because, you know, we didn't like communicate, you know, like this is how I demonstrate love, and this is how I need you to demonstrate love to me, and this is what like help means to me, and this is, you know, I need you to tell me how can I like help you. Does it make sense? You know, and then that conversation has to happen. Like at the beginning of the relationship, like this is what I want, this is what I need, and this is how I want to be treated, and I need to know how you need to be treated, and how, you know, what love means to you and what values you've got. And I wanted to have those conversations, but I probably didn't do it the right way, or like something got like lost in translation. So in my next relationship, we actually did talk about it with one of my students recently, because he's got a lot of like issues with his mental health, and he was like he like doesn't talk about it with like anybody, and especially like with like girlfriends and stuff like this. And I was like, do you know what, like next time, like when I find eventually like somebody, I have to be honest about everything. I will probably make them watch these videos so they know what they are getting, and you know, like how my brain like functions, and I will try my hardest to like make them talk to me, because with men it's really, really difficult, you know, like they never like open up, or it's difficult for them to like share the things like honestly and just being vulnerable, because there is this, you know, like, you know, like what's that, like this masculinity that, you know, like I'm tough, I don't care, you know, like whatever. Like it's not true, it's not true. They have to open up as well, and they have to be honest. And if the person will not be honest with me, then fuck off, because it's gonna cause problems. I think when you talk about everything honestly and openly, then you don't have any issues, because you always like want to help, and you know, rambling. Yeah, so let's move on, shall we?
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Like I don't miss it, like
What?
not at all, but still, like, you know, the freedom that I was able to do it.
What are we talking about?
But not at all, but still, like, you know, the freedom binging everything, like my fucking shops, I ate everything and I just threw up afterwards.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Like, I don't miss it, like...
Why would you miss, like, what were you talking about? Like binging, and you're missing the freedom of like being able to overeat and then like throw up. Are you joking? Are you kidding me?
But still, like, you know, the freedom.
Freedom of fucking up your life.
I was able to do it. That was...
Do you understand? Like, I'm missing the freedom to be like fucking up my life. You are so stupid. Honestly, I was a little piece of shit at that time. I was incredibly like selfish and just awful, and like, oh my god.
Like, I'm really happy, you know, living with my mum, and I love her to pieces, and
yes, you do.
I really enjoy my time with her.
Yeah. Finally something positive, because until this time, 11 minutes in, I was just complaining how, you know, like, oh my god, like she's... Yeah, finally something positive about her. Thank you very much. But maybe I was just in that moment I was you know, just on it.
You miss my freedom when you were able to do everything without, you know, the need of, you know, reporting yourself and...
Yeah, because this is what mums do, right? When you live with them, they are just interested and they ask the questions like, where are you, you know, where are you going, and what is your plan for today, and blah blah blah. And for me, sometimes like it's I talked about it in the panic attack video, that like I'm very introverted, and sometimes I need time for myself. And when somebody is like constantly like asking me about like, you know, what's your plan, what are you doing, like blah 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 blah, sometimes it like gets to me, and I love being independent. Love being on my own, and you know, those antisocial days that I've got, like sometimes I want to see people and sometimes I don't want to see people, and when I don't want to see people and people are like coming to me and they want to interact with me, it makes me anxious and stressed, and there is a high probability that I will have a panic attack, just like in that video when I, you know, like talked about that. It doesn't make sense. Again, I think I'm a narcissist because, like, you know, I wanted to be on my own and somebody decided to visit me, which is lovely, but you know, like in that moment I'm like, I'm not ready for it, so I get a panic attack because somebody, you know, like is not following my orders, or I don't know. So in here I'm like, you know, like, because I lived by myself in the UK, I had my freedom, I could do whatever I want, but then I moved into a flat with my mummy where, like, of course, like she was happy to like have me there, and she was interested, and she was like asking me, and we were like, you know, spending a lot of time, you know, with me. So it was, again, it was a drastic change, and it was like limiting my freedom and independence, which are the names of the spaceships, space rockets in Armageddon. Was it Freedom and Independence? Yeah. Never mind. So here I'm genuinely like not happy, and also like in the city, right? I had the freedom of like walking around Brighton and just like going anywhere and just feeling comfortable, and in my hometown I was not feeling comfortable, and I felt like trapped, and I was like feeling like suffocated, like at home, because my mum was way too caring and like way too interested in me, and that was a big change. And also then like with the city, where I felt like I cannot just go anywhere and I don't want to meet anybody, especially like my ex-boyfriend and his friends and his family and stuff. That was hard. That was hard, wasn't it? Like, yeah, and at the same time I was trying to, you know, like start like to work. Like, I got my dream job and I was able to teach at that time, right? but I felt like this, and like teaching, and you know, like it was challenging. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you that you made it. You are strong. You're like, you know, like a moaning little bitch, but you're strong. Right? Right? Yeah, I'm proud of her. Really proud of her. But, you know, she's like complaining and moaning a little bit too much, I would say.
Oh, no, life is easy. I'm really happy, and
It's easy.
I'm happy for my mum that, you know, her business is doing great and everything is doing great and everything is fine, and I'm, you know, like healthy. I mean, kind of. Like, I don't know like what's going on with my body, but I don't know about anything serious, so you know, I've got my legs and my hands and my mind, and I'm not disabled, so I should be fucking happy. And I am. I appreciate everything. Yeah, like...
It's like, that's another thing that I do. Every time I feel, you know, like a piece of shit, I just put things into perspective, right? Because in a certain moment, you know, your problems, or like my problems, they feel really, really heavy. It's like, you know, it's like in that moment, it's like the only thing that you can think about is, you know, that breakup or the stress or that situation. But when you put it into like to the context of like someone else's problems and someone else's issues, like, you will realize that your problems are actually not as huge, although it doesn't feel like it in that moment. Like, still, like, you've got like a better version of the shitty situation, if that makes sense. So I was complaining about the problems with my skin and with my eating, but you know, there are people who cannot walk. There are people who don't have, you know, their limbs. There are people who got like much more serious skin issues. So I had a problem, but at the same time, you know, it was a good one. If you have to choose from the selection of like all of those things that can be wrong with your body, that was not as bad. It was terrible and I fucking hated it, but it's, you know, it's not as bad. So when you think of the others who are struggling with like much more serious, you know, illnesses, your rash is just you can still walk, fucking hell, do you know? You cannot open your eyes, you know, but once you open them you can see. There are people who are blind and they cannot see at all, do you know? And things like this, like I always like try to like put my problems into the whole spectrum of problems that you can actually like have, right? And maybe, you know, like I'm like not happy with the attitude of my mummy, but some people don't have a mummy, you know. It's nice, it's a very nice problem to have. Do you know what I mean? You know, like your mum being too caring, you know, and way too interested in your life. Some people don't have that, and they would love that. I'm pretty sure like some people would have loved, you know, their mother smothering them with love and, you know, interest and attention. I was stupid. Yeah, but no, like in the recording, like I'm actually like having this like mindset and this attitude, and I'm really grateful that I've got that, because it helps. It genuinely like helps me. And sometimes like when things are heavy, like really heavy, and I cannot like analyze it that way, I just go outside and I just look at the stars. I look at the stars and I think about the universe, or I would watch a video about the solar system, you know, the planets, the stars and comets and all of those things. And then, you know, when you think about, you know, when you see the tiny little, you know, like our planet, you know, the Earth, you know, among all of the other planets, and the size of the sun, you realize that you in this whole, you know, and when they explain like in the video, like, you know, how it works and all of those like forces and, you know, like things like this that move the planets like around, and you know, you are on that tiny little ball, you know, like sitting there and complaining about your boyfriend. Do you know, like just doesn't make sense. Just doesn't make sense. Like, we are not important. Like, you know, my existence is not important. When you look at the whole like history of our planet, me as an individual, like nobody's gonna remember me. I'm not, like, you know, like I'm not important. So why are my problems important? Do you know, they are not. They are not. And we've got like a limited time on this planet, and instead of like feeling like a piece of shit, you can just like, you might as well have a good time and do things, you know, and just work with what you've got. You know, it's not fair. Like, some people have better lives, but some people have worse lives. So you're always like somewhere in the middle, because you can find 1,000 people with a better life, and you can also find like 1,000 people with a shittier life. And trust me, in comparison with that, like, you would be fucking grateful that you are in the situation where you are right now. I don't know if it makes sense, and I don't want to offend anybody and anybody's problems, but this is how I like deal with these situations occasionally. You know, just putting things into perspective and realizing that nothing is as bad. Or maybe it's really, really bad, but trust me, it could be worse. Always. Always. And there is something beautiful in like everything, and in every like, hey, yeah. Oh my god. So this was another message from your guru. Oh my lord, 22 minutes, are you joking? Okay, so let's do like a couple of seconds of this.
A few minutes ago I said that I've achieved everything, like, in case, you know, something happened, like, I would die happily. Like, I've made it, honestly. Like, my goal to be a teacher of English is now, it's accomplished. Like, I've made it. Like, do you remember the times when I was sitting on the beach in Brighton, I was thinking of, you know, being an English teacher, and thinking, you know, of the activities and stuff. Mostly I was, you know, imagining myself like in front of few people in like a conversation course, just, you know, talking about different topics. That has already happened. Like, I've achieved that, I've made it, and I'm like so fucking proud of myself. It has happened. I need to get like a new goal. Like, new goal for me is like to get the proficiency certificate, and to be able to travel around the world, get all of my students on Skype, and just to be able to travel.
We made it too. Like, we are not traveling around the world, but I moved to like teaching online, so I can do that if I want to. I can travel the world. So I'm telling you, baby, we made it. Your new goal has been accomplished. I should get a new one. No, like, I'm just enjoying the ride. I'm seriously, like, because, yeah, but I didn't know that I talked about it. But, you know, that was my like next step, like, do a bit of traveling, and, you know, like, find another place where I would, you know, feel comfortable, and having students online, and like enjoying life. Not in my hometown, because I didn't like it as much, and we are dying. So yeah, we made it, baby, we made it. I love you, and I love you too. So the future version of me, like,